Recording. Hi, Chris Tine. How are you?
Good, thanks, Eric. How are you?
I'm well. I'm familiar with you from around the channel, obviously, and I when I told the live stream before that I was doing before starting this typing session that I was going to type you, they were interested. So you've watched some of these session videos, yeah?
Yes, I've watched quite a few. I tried not to absorb the questions too much and just more like I was more like listening to how they're answered so that like I was like so I don't do it wrong.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Uh, well, you know the the general way I start these things, the drill probably, which is, can you tell me a bunch of insignificant details in the order in which they happen that comprise your day?
Well, luckily my day hasn't been very long because I booked this at 11, except I forgot that savings happened before between this and the other time I talked to you. So yeah, I woke up at 9:30 and I thought, and then I was like, and it said your typing session's in half an hour, and I was like, what? No, that's what happened. And then I got dressed, and then now I'm here.
Well, you know what, Chris Tine, this morning I had a typing session at 7 a.m. and I got up at like 6:15. I was out here, sitting out here, but had not gotten enough sleep. I got like 2 hours of sleep, and it just wasn't enough. And I fell asleep, and then I woke up abruptly at 7:09, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I went into the thing. I said, "He was still there." Fortunately, I said, "I can't type you right now. I'm sorry. I'm a mess." So, you know, that was kind of embarrassing, but shit
Yeah.
does sometimes happen. All right. So yeah, can you tell me about your day so far in terms of like how many hours you been up? Or
Half an hour.
that's it. So okay,
Yeah.
all right then. How about yesterday from 6 p.m. on?
Okay. At 6 p.m., I was on the train coming home from a presentation I just did. Um, and I got picked up by my husband, and we went home, had dinner, and then I had a study group from 8 to 10. And then I went to bed, basically. Yeah.
Okay, what did you study?
So I study actually doing a degree in UX, which is user experience design, and in a design school, but I'm actually trying to become a filmmaker. So, in that college, they do a lot of film subjects, and that's what I've been doing as like basically my major of my other design course. So that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
What kind of films did you want to make?
Uh, I'm not sure yet. Like, to be honest, yesterday, my lecturer said to me, you need to take yourself a bit more seriously, and you need to start figuring out what to call yourself, because I kept calling myself all these different things like content creator and video maker, and he's like, no, you're a filmmaker, Christine, call yourself filmmaker. And so I kind of just figured that part out, and so I'm still kind of like I've been making a lot of music videos, and I like making like little short story films about I seem to have like the same themes again and again and again. But yeah, just little stories, not really dialogue heavy. But I'd love to shoot to like storyboard something that someone else has written, because that would be fun, because I'm not very good at dialogue and things like that. So yeah, that would be fun to do something like that.
So okay, um, do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, but making a new one. As you can see, I'm very insecure about my work. I'm just like, I don't want to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess I'm trying to get a sense of whether I guess it probably wouldn't show me on your YouTube channel because you seem pretty cautious in your like. Well, at least right now, it seems like you're probably pretty cautious in your choosing what to put up and stuff.
Yeah, actually, it's a big problem because I have a lot of work actually, and my lecturers want like one of the things we have to do as a designer and is to put yourself out there. And like I mean, they want us to make like our own brand and identity and things like that. And I struggle with that so much. It's been like I made a portfolio and then I tore it down and then I put up a YouTube. I put up like a lot of YouTube videos and I took them all down and. Uh, Yeah, I'm just like really not sure. I guess I'm just unsure about myself and like my own identity and like what I want to be, like what how I want to portray myself and the way they make it sound in design school is like it is the be all and end all for you to put yourself out there is like the main thing like and that I struggle with the most. So yeah.
Is it because you're subject to critique when you do that? Is it because you don't do that because you just are so hesitant about it? Or is it because you just don't trust that what you have is good enough to put out, or what?
It's the last one.
Okay.
I don't care about the critique because, especially lately, I've been learning to take it and handle it a lot better than I did at first. It's definitely that, yeah, I just don't think that I'm up to scratch. And yesterday he said, I told him like I feel like I can't call myself a filmmaker. I don't feel like I'm ready yet. Like and I've been doing this for like 4 years, and he's like, just the imposter syndrome that's gonna go away. Don't worry, it'll go away. And I was like, okay, that's good. So, he's hoping.
I mean, from what I can tell, it mostly involves making sure the camera doesn't move around while you point it at things too much.
Yeah, that's a good start. Definitely. I'd agree.
It's like, you're really making films when you use a tripod.
Yeah, maybe I should use one of those.
You should. You should.
Maybe I should actually use a camera instead of potatoes.
Is potatoes a term for a bad camera?
Um, I was actually thinking of literally like a carved out potato with like the little like camera obscura thing inside it.
Okay. Uh, Interesting. So, when, how did you come to? Okay, is this like a college you're going to, or what?
Yeah, it's a design university. Well, actually, it's a university that has a design school in it.
Do you have a bachelor's degree, or are you getting it?
I actually have one, and I'm getting one again. So I
Okay.
have one in IT, and this is my second one now. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so you decided to get a second bachelor's instead of getting a master's in your first bachelor's.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Now, are you going to go for a third bachelor's, do you think?
I've thought about it. I've thought about doing typology, going to typology university with Professor Jose Eric. Um, um, yeah, no, I don't even think I want to do a master's. I'm literally like just doing this bachelor's just to because I didn't feel like I could go into design without a qualification. I just well now like I know that was stupid. I should have just like done a TAFE course, which is like a practical short vocational kind of course, and that would have given me all the skills I needed. And then I could have just gone and done my own thing, and I have all this like you have to do this and you have to do that put on me. And done my own thing and just been oblivious to the actual like industry or something. I don't know, but now
Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean,
late for that. I have to finish this thing now.
yeah,
Started
I
it.
guess you do. You should finish it. You've got a lot of time invested into it. Although I'm not sure how much credentialing serves one's interests or needs in that particular industry. But regardless,
Yeah.
okay. So, huh? That's like, when did you become disillusioned with school? At what point?
Like, when did I realize I don't really need this shit?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
uh, about actually, to be honest, like, it was a long time ago, but I actually really felt it, like, last year. I was like, that's when I really started thinking, you know,
School's
like this
dumb.
was a big mistake. Yeah, this was a big mistake, and that's just exactly the point when I decided, like, oh, I've been doing when actually, I had been doing a lot of film subjects. Somebody else said to me, "Why don't you do film? Like, why are you doing UX?" And I hate UX, by the way. I don't hate it. Okay, that's me, but
What's
I
UX?
don't like it. User experience design, which is basically like taking a system and making a prototype, user interface prototype to test on people and figure out how they use it, how they think about it, and then developing it so that it's more intuitive for people to use, of certain audiences. And it's a really big business right now as well. But I don't really like it. It's boring as hell. It's a brain pain.
It's important work, though, I gotta say.
Yeah, it is. I just kind of stopped caring about
Sometimes,
important things.
sometimes I simply cannot help but marvel at how smart YouTube's user interface is. Like the things that like the creator user interface anyway. Maybe not the viewer one. I'm not talking about the viewer one anymore. Is the point? But the creator one, the way it lets you do lots of different things that you want to do, and you find yourself surprised. Oh, I can do that. It does let me
Mm,
edit this, but not that, and this and the other thing, and it's really quite robust, that studio that I have to have. Anyway, regardless,
yeah.
maybe let me move on to some other kinds of SI questions rather than just events in the day. Can you talk to me about your sleeping and eating habits?
Uh, Both not good. Um, okay, so sleeping, I um I have kind of not really been following the schedule properly. And just uh eat taking one thing at a time. So like if I go to sleep late and I'll look at my calendar and be like, oh shit, I have something in the morning. Oh well, it's like, well, I'm not gonna sleep enough tonight. Eating, it's kind of a bit weird right now because living at home, and uh my husband and I like to get takeaway a lot, and sometimes we just eat what my mum cooks, which is actually really healthy, but we do get a lot of takeaway.
Are
Because
you
we don't
in
cook.
England somewhere?
Am I sorry? Wait, say that again.
Are you in England?
No, I'm in Australia. I'm in Sydney.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm born and raised here.
because you said the term takeaway. I think of that as
Oh,
being a British expression. It
oh
makes
yeah, well, we use those.
it always makes me think of you saying we like to get taken away. you know,
Oh yeah, no, I would. I'd love to get abducted by an
you like
alien and
get
go to another
taken
planet.
away somewhere.
Yeah.
'Cause in America, we might call it takeout, or
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
or we call
I
it drive-through.
Okay. I'll remember. I'll try and use
No,
the
no, no, don't
proper.
try to. I just think it's interesting. That's all. I just thought it was interesting. Okay,
It
maybe
is.
it made me wonder if that was the sign that you were from England because I've only
Uh,
heard it associated with England before. Anyway, um, okay, so let me do this. I want you to tell me a story about a character, and the only information I'm going to give about the character is their name, and their name is Strong Ox Supple Noodle.
Supple noodle.
Supple Noodle.
Supple
Strong
noodle.
Ox Supple Noodle.
Okay. And that's all the cue I get, right?
So all the
Um.
information about the character, you have to make up every other information you have about the character.
Okay. Strong ox supple noodle is the strongest ox of supple noodle. And in supple noodle, he lives on a mountain all alone, and he's known as the strong ox because he's the only one who can who can help the villagers move the noodles to keep them supple. And and
Wait, hold on. I want a tangent here. I want you
Okay.
now to tell the story of why it is that these particular noodles suffer from an unusually high supple bird supple supplementation requirement.
Mm. Because because a long time ago, Strong Ox had a father who, when he was alive, he accidentally he was so strong that when he was swimming, he broke the dam, and the dam keeps flooding, and that makes the noodles supple, and so it's his responsibility. He has a duty. He has a duty to the villagers to help them.
And so he goes down there and he helps them keep the noodles supple by doing what again? Or what exactly is he doing?
He's a strong ox, and so to keep the noodles supple, he has to get a big, huge. He's actually huge and he's a giant, by the way. I forgot to mention. He has to get a big, huge pot, light a fire, and then he has to
That
get
is like as big as a house, or what? Like how do you
yeah,
get that?
like it's so big that the villagers could all fit in it. Like that's how big it is. And he gets the pot and he lights it, and he has to put the noodles in there, and he has to make sure that the villagers are not stuck to the noodles because they stick when they're not supple.
I see. That's important. Now, my question, of course, is how does Strong Ox light the fire? Is he really an ox? Does he have hooves or does he have hands?
He's part ox, part human because he did have a human mother. But
What a slut! Oh
I
my
know
goodness! Wow, she really was wild. That woman. She was. That girl was
she is
nuts.
wilder than Tiffany.
Yeah, that girl was nutser than Tiffany. Exactly.
Yeah, and so because he does have opposable thumbs, he is able to do other things for the villagers. But he's also part ox. He's very stubborn. Oxes are very stubborn, and they have to convince him, not to kill villagers, not to, do things, do things while he's down there to hurt them because he's so bloody big. Yeah.
So if I were to if I were to ask the villagers, what does needing to worry about the ox killing you all the time make you think? Do you think the villagers would respond, "It makes me think the ox is being stubborn"?
Well, the villagers actually have developed a religion around this experience because now they believe that when they are not killed by the ox, that they've been saved, they've been blessed, and if somebody does get killed, then he then that person is like become is like a martyr or something. I don't know, like
Martyr. Okay, cool.
you know. But they
So,
still have to convince him not to kill them because they do want to stay alive.
I mean, how do
So
they
they've been
convince
praying.
it? Do they go, listen, ox, hey, just hold on a second, just listen. Look, I know it seems to you like we're in the way, but it is very important that you not step on us all the time, okay? Like that? Is that how they convince him?
They have a special prayer that they do, and they it's a ceremony that they hold once a month when before the ox comes down from the mountain, and it's like part of it is writing signs that say please don't kill us, and part of it is sacrificing their chickens, and
Okay, all right, cool. So, I feel comfortable telling you that you are not extroverted intuition polar. Okay.
oh, good.
Congratulations. Okay. So, okay. Let's see. Can you tell me the I'm gonna give you a long sentence that's repeats itself a lot. Okay,
Hmm.
and I want you to narrow it and restate it back to me as the most concise version that includes the key points.
Okay.
So here's the long sentence. If you want to be a filmmaker, which is to say a person who uses a digital camera of some sort to record some sort of data, so for the purpose of having that data that has been recorded viewed by somebody at some point, then you should make films with your camera and look at those films and make decisions about whether those films are examples of films in which the quality of said films, which is to say the goodness or badness thereof, renders it worthy of upload. The end.
If you want to be a filmmaker, which involves capturing data um, and putting it out there to the public, then you have to um, hang on, I forgot the second part. If you want to be a filmmaker, then you have to capture film with your camera and review it review it for how before it's what's the word?
Pub-
Review it.
Published. That's
Yeah,
that's very
review it.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
very
forgot.
very interesting. So now, can you, if you had to exclude some information to make it even shorter, which information? Or make it shorter.
Hmm.
Try again. Make it shorter.
Okay. If you want to be a filmmaker, you have to capture film with your camera and then review it and then decide which ones are the best and then upload it,
Okay.
publish it.
All right. Well, I mean, the interesting thing is how revelatory this particular question is. I've treated it as primarily an NI question, but you can see how there's an SI slash even TE almost element to it because of the ordinality of this particular one. Although,
Right.
you could say, well, in its most concise sense, what the sentence says is if you want to be a filmmaker, record stuff and upload it if it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And skip the steps and the little details that
yeah.
make your head go ooh.
All right, so interesting. Can you break down the task of sending a bouquet of flowers to a relative on their birthday into exactly 5 steps?
Okay. Figure out when the birthday is. Call the florist. Ask them for the nicest bouquet and uh dictate a message, I suppose, to the on the card and have it sent on scheduled for the birthday.
Dear Aunt Petunia, fuck you.
I'd like the ugliest petunias you have.
That's funny. Okay. Um. So, how long have you been married for?
since 2020.
Okay. What do you think about being married? Do you like it better than being single?
This is what I've thought about this, and this is what I've decided that being married, nothing really changes except your perspective on the relationship. Because really, now that you're married, the things that they do that annoy you a lot more because you're stuck with them forever now. Even if before you thought about it, it didn't annoy you as much until you were actually there, and then and then so
Okay.
but then you have to change your mindset and be like, they were like this before. Just forget it. You're married. It's okay. And then if you don't worry about it, then it's not a problem, really. That's how I'm going about it.
Okay. Um, can you tell me uh, what things, meaning activities, objects, relationships, experiences, um, yeah, you find important?
Um, I have to think about this. Um, I think that like relationship with family is important. Um, if you asked me like 5 years ago, I would have said traveling is the most important thing, and I want to travel everywhere. Um, but now I think like after things have happened, I definitely realize how important it is to have like your family around. And um what else? I don't value. I guess I can tell you what I don't. I know I don't value. Say like material things as much. Like I want to have comfortable, but not. I don't really care if I have like a Mercedes Benz or like a 3-story mansion or whatever. That's not important to me. So yeah,
Two-story mansion will be adequate.
yeah, 2.5.
Okay, interesting. So let me do some deductive reasoning questions now, such as if only elm trees make maple syrup, and this syrup came from an elm tree, can we conclude that it is necessarily maple?
Not necessarily.
Okay. If some grandmas have gray hair and all gray-haired people love parcheesi, is it necessarily the case that some grandmas love parcheesi?
Can you repeat that one? Sorry.
If some grandmas have gray hair and all gray-haired people love parcheesi, is it necessarily the case that some grandmas love parcheesi?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me who my mother's husband's only daughter's mother's husband is in relationship to me?
Your father?
Yes. Let's see. Have you ever heard the hats problem?
Yes.
Have you heard the problem about what's the other big TI question I have? I don't remember. Okay, so all right. There's something somebody was reminding me of the other day to try doing as well. Okay, well, what's what is okay? Let's say you were tasked with arguing that we Australia, the people of Australia, our great sovereign nation should, for sure, blow up this small uninhabited island off of the coast of your country with a nuclear weapon. Now, can you give me some reasons why you're in charge of selling this idea, that this is a good idea and that we should do it? The real secret reason is, okay, I'll tell you the real secret reason is because an evil rich person wants to just wantonly has a desire to kill endangered wildlife nearby. Okay, so that's the real reason. But you've taken on this job anyway of convincing everybody that it's a good idea, and the reason is because maybe he's paying you a lot, or maybe he's got your family held hostage or something.
Wait, who's paying me? Who's paying me? Sorry, I missed that part.
Okay. Well, okay. So first of all, you have to you in this story you have to take on the job of telling the reasons why that Australia should do this. Now you can choose though. You can choose to have to do this because he's paying you and you took the job. Or you can choose to have to do this because he's got your family held hostage.
Okay. He has my family held hostage. And I'm trying to convince, the government why we should nuke this island with this crazy maniacal person on it.
Basically writing... No, he's not on it. He's the one who's behind this whole scheme.
Oh, he's behind it. Okay,
he's behind the whole scheme, okay? So he's got his bad motivations. But you've taken your responsibility is to cover those up with good reasons, quote unquote, to do this stupid thing. Okay. Now you can choose whether the reason you have to do this, you decided to do this, is because he's paying you a lot of money, and you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take the money. It probably won't happen anyway. Or because he's got your family held hostage, and you definitely get him back fine once you do the job. And so then you can know that you had good enough reason to do it, I guess.
Okay, I'll definitely go with he's got my family hostage. And do you want my arguments or?
Yeah, I want the arguments. I want your opinion piece for the newspaper saying the Australian people should get behind this project. It's a great idea.
All right, so nobody knows this, but on the island, there's actually a huge criminal operation. They're trying to, they're actually using the wildlife there to create weapons of mass destruction. And so they are constantly just like killing wildlife and,
Okay, so your first reason is to manufacture a lie about an evil cabal of people on this deserted island killing wildlife.
How do you know it's a lie? It could be real. You didn't go there and look, did you?
Are you trying to seize the frame of the meta story here?
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So that's a good enough. That's a good reason. Let's try something like position it as a good look internationally.
Okay. The reason why Australia needs to nuke this island is because the wildlife there are infected with a crazy plague, and this plague. Wait, am I doing the same thing again?
But no, you are. I get what you're doing. In other words, you are saying this would make a good impression if it were for this reason. But what I was saying is, pretend instead of coming up with whatever reason, you have to argue that our nuking this place without any other elements in the story makes a good impression. Makes Australia makes the international community think well of Australia.
Hmm. And I can't lie. I can't come up with anything that's not like a lie. um. Uh.
All right, so okay, this is going to be interesting because what I'm going to do is I'm going to demo it on this one, and I'm going to give you another one and see if you can imitate the way I do it. Okay?
All right. Okay.
So it'd be something like this. We definitely need to nuke this island. It has been far too long since there's been a public demonstration of Australia's nuclear power and our nuclear might, and plus, it'll show everybody that this area out here, extending beyond the actual physical land borders of the subcontinent of Australia, is still ours. It's ours enough that we can nuke it. We can do whatever we want with it. We will not be constrained by international norms regarding above ground nuclear testing. And you know what? We're gonna make the Bikini Atoll look like a flash in a pan on the stove. We're gonna blow the fuck out of this island. And we should, because we're Australia. And, you know, we wake up every morning, we walk out our house. What's that right in front of us in the front yard? A great white shark. What's right next to that? A kangaroo with boxing gloves on. It's a non-stop battle for us
It's
every
true.
day. The rest of the world doesn't understand what it means to be tough, like an Australian is tough. So we want to show them. In fact, I'm taking volunteers. Who wants to come and stand on the island to show them Australians are so tough that they
Oh
can
God, Eric,
survive in the face of a direct nuclear blast?
you've convinced me. I'm now for nuclear weapons. Like that's how much you've convinced me.
Okay, so let's try with this one.
All
Now you need to convince everybody that it's good that Australians put plastics into the ocean.
right. Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. All right. It's good to put it's okay. As Australians, we need to put more plastic into the oceans, and the reason is because the rest of the world isn't doing their job and putting enough plastic in. Wait, hang on, that's not very convincing.
It's not
The
very
reason is
convincing.
no, and the reason is that the plastic in Australia actually melts the plastic in other countries. And so the more plastic that we put in the ocean as Australians from made in Australia, then,
You're
then
making
the
up
more plastic.
lies? No, it's not gonna work.
But
You,
it's true. Just like how kangaroos
like
are wearing
this.
boxing gloves and
No, okay, but look, here's the thing. Here's not a lie, right? You can say, look, it is true that some plastic bottles, in theory at least, reach some stowaways, or I'm sorry, castaways, are lost or stuck on desert islands. And they're going to need that plastic bottle to put their note in and then put the cap back on and release back to the ocean that reads, I'm here, lost on this island, wherever, right? The fact is, we cannot afford to put those people's lives at risk. And that's why we need to put more of plastic bottles of the size that nose can fit in, okay, into the ocean. A lot more. We need to absolutely. If you have a plastic bottle like this and you're Australian, I'd like you to, next time instead of throwing it in the trash, please go throw it into the ocean if you live nearby. Maybe keep a bin of them and toss them in periodically. Because otherwise, you're killing potentially millions of castaways by denying them their only possible route off of the island.
yeah, yeah. So, do you want me to give another reason or
Yeah,
like?
okay, okay. Let's try one more. So I didn't have to make up anything, right? It's all just like
Okay,
it's a
all right,
potential thing, right? So let's
okay,
try the
right,
third one. All right. I
right.
want
Sorry,
I
okay.
want you to say that uh, that Australia should um, should pour chlorine on the Great Barrier Reef?
So the re- so the Great Barrier Reef is actually deficient in its chlorine, and the reason it needs chlorine is so that before it can regrow, it needs to clean itself. It needs to get rid of
Is
all the
that
micro.
true, though? No, it's not true. Can you just give me a reason it's
Okay, all right.
true? That doesn't say
Why is
anything's
my
not
life a
true.
lie? Okay. All right. Something that's true.
I, I'm not. I don't really know anything about the Great Barrier Reef, but
Um. Okay. Because it's more important that the ocean is clean than it is that the Great Barrier Reef regrows itself. And the reason why it's more important that the ocean is clean is because there's all these kids swimming in it.
there you go. There you go. Nice work, my friend. Nice work.
Thank you. I was like squeezing like lemons out of my brain. Like, I was like,
Okay, so um, can you explain to me what your thoughts are on aesthetics, like what makes something good or not good?
um, I know I go to design school, but I'm not very good at aesthetics. But okay, so what I think makes something look good is um if it's got I like things that are like a bit weird. So like if it's got weird shapes on it, if it's got you know cool colors on it, some kind of like element of surprise.
What's a what's a cool color? Do you think?
I like okay, because this is based on what I think makes something look good, right? Or is this
I'm
just
just
general?
wondering, like, what your thoughts are on what makes good art.
Oh, right. It's to me, as the aesthetic is just half the picture, really. The other half is the meaning of it and what exactly the symbolism of it is. What are they trying to tell you? That's what I think makes good something good.
Hmm.
If you wanted to look at aesthetics, then the aesthetics, like I think they're derived from the meaning, from what you're making. That comes second, and through a lot of exploration. Yeah. Do you want me to go on, or because I can? But
So, if somebody paints a picture and they're only, and it's like a landscape or something, it's very nicely done. Their only reasoning for it is, well, it's pretty. Uh, does that make you dismiss it, or do you think, well, I make my own meaning out of it, or what?
I wouldn't dismiss it. I have in the past, and I know that was quite snobby.
It's okay to be
Uh,
snobby.
yeah, because you learn. You live and you learn. Um, well, I wouldn't dismiss it. I do think that you can make your own meaning out of it, and that people do that naturally. They'll look at something and they'll interpret it by how it mean what it means to them personally, or at least that's how I interpret it. And oh, by the way, I just figured out not long ago that people think differently than I do when I
Hmm.
learned about typology. So yeah, so maybe I need to rethink that, but.
And I want to clarify on a earlier statement. It is okay to be snobby in certain ways. Okay, so it's like uh, I'm snobby personally. Like I'm very snobby about if I don't like a band and think they're bad, then instead of just being like, if somebody goes, "Oh, I love this band," and I hear it and I'm saying by, I might or depending, probably not nowadays, but I tend to say things like, Oh my god, did you just say you like that band? That band is absolutely terrible. Anyway, but
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that, and it was not really,
it
especially if
doesn't
that
go
person
over well. It doesn't go over well.
if if that person has something invested in that, like if it's a piece of their work or something, then like I used to do wet photography, which is like just black and white in the dark room, and I was like 14, right? And then I used to think like this is real photography. Digital photography isn't real photography, okay? And I said that to someone who was doing digital photography, and then they were like, and I was like, oh,
Okay, but you
shouldn't
make my
do that.
point. You just made my point, actually,
Yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah.
that the first one that I just demonstrated is actually the not bad kind of snobbery, because you're
Mm,
saying I hate this particular thing, and I think that it indicates that you, since you like it, you have bad taste. The bad kind of snobbery is when you say nobody can really claim to have watched my movie until you've watched it on this screen with those things like that, or what you were saying there. Only this is the real kind of
yeah,
photography, because that
yeah,
generalizes the wrong direction. It generalizes the
yeah.
wrong direction. This shitty thing, the fact that this person likes this shitty thing, does tell you something about that person. But
Yeah.
the fact that you like and think that you should experience this on a big screen does not mean that people who don't think that haven't experienced it properly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that that's yeah, the worst kind of snobbery. Or the worser one.
The worst of
Until we
them,
see the
yeah.
worst one.
Like the first one's not necessarily good but it's not as bad if you're not doing it to the person directly. Like, so there's this barrier of I'm talking about some third party that I don't personally know,
Yeah.
and saying, that person said this about that, and that person is so dumb for saying this about that because they're a big dummy and I'm a big smarty and meow meow meow. You know,
Yeah, that shit. Oh my god, yes.
so that's a little bit more okay because it's you're just owning your own discursive space, right? Than
Mm.
than things that are, I guess you'd say, well, then I don't know, whatever. I lost
Well,
my
I
train of
guess
thought.
stuff isn't true. Like my snobby thing wasn't even true, so that's like
Yeah, we get attached a little to little things here. I think it's pretty obvious what type you are, right? It seems to me, it should
Oh
be.
really? I have no idea. I'm just like my blinds are I have no idea.
I mean, it seems obvious to me that you're an ENTP.
What?
But
Me?
you got all
I'm
this.
like not like nowhere near as cool as the NTPs that
Listen. Listen. It's it's obvious because first of all, your TIs. Well, I didn't do a whole shit ton of TI testing, but the way you jumped the answer on that genealogy question made me go, okay, that's fast TI. There's no need for a repetition of it. There was no. I didn't do a shit ton of TI testing. But there's no way you're TI polar. I mean, the thing is, you are FI polar. That's the thing. Is
am I?
you test so
Oh my
positive for FI
god.
polar. You totally do. You know what the most FI polar answer of all time is?
What?
That you'd rather have your family held hostage so that you can justify afterwards you're doing what you did better than be paid money and not be able to justify afterwards what you did better. That's as FI polar as it gets. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it? It's like,
It's just like it explains so much. You have no idea.
no, I do know. I've been where you are too. When I realized when I first read the type descriptions, I person in tears like, oh, there's a reason this is what's wrong with me.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Like I just thought I was an I, and I'm like really polite and stuff. Like, maybe I'm not really that polite as I think, but like,
Well, you
yeah. And
got
I definitely the only thing I like, you know what I relate to a lot is is jumping the question is interrupting other people when they're talking, even if like there's no need to. I just do it, and I'm like, stop, Christine, hold back, hold back. Oh, but if I'm an ENTP, then I'm really like not. Wait, so FE third? I thought I was gonna.
Let me stress this too. I am very, I would be very, and am very cautious about doing a typing session where I got a false positive on ENTP. So, in other words, um, it it's like I might mistype an ENTP as an INTP and get that false negative. But I almost never, I hope I would never really get a false positive that says, nowadays anyway, that this person's an ENTP when really they're not. It was obvious to me early on, and every test confirmed it. And it, the conversation we had where we're going back and forth in your story and stuff and changing details and shit. It was delightful. It's delightful to participate with somebody who's exactly on the same attentional wavelengths. So and it's also great because it's demonstrative of exactly why these other fake ENTPs are not ENTPs.
Yeah, because I don't relate to them, and then and I'm like, well, I do relate to you, but I didn't think it was because I would be like on the same attentional wavelength, you know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Look, I'm not a special ENTP. We are all like this. Now, I'm obviously more self-confident and older than you, right? So,
Right.
in that
Oh,
regard,
yeah.
I've spent some more years polishing up my affect and my FE, and and YouTube's helped me polish it as well. So, I'm going to come across a little more, a little less frantic. Then so but regardless, it was obvious to me right away, and I felt nothing but increasingly convinced of it throughout the whole session. You are definitely an ENTP, and a well-timed one, because it's, if you let me publish, you want to watch it first?
Well, my husband wants me to watch it, and he knows that my response to you is like, yeah, publish it. But he knows that I'll go later. Oh, I wish I didn't publish it, but I think I will. But is it okay if I
Yeah,
just
of
watch
course,
it?
of course, of course, of course, of course.
Yeah.
So if you do publish it, then you get other people's opinions as well, and I will be able to at that point use it as another example. Like, okay, C.S. Joseph, and Melissa talks. Listen, here's another lady who's come in and proved herself to be an ENTP, indisputably. Now, will you come demonstrate these same skills that I have this example of, this example of, this example of, this example of? It's like, and at some point it becomes, okay, so what are we then? If you guys aren't this, because you refuse to come in and establish that you are, then what are we? Are we not ENTPs? Are we something else?
Yes. I'd
No.
like to also just encourage you, Melissa Talks, and C.S. Joseph, and any other typologist who has been type policed and was disgruntled. Please, I urge you to get type, because that is the only way you will ever settle the matter. You won't be really believed if you don't. You can't get around it. You gotta get type. Get
By
type.
me.
Yeah, by Eric is what I mean.
Okay. I stopped the recording.